Hey everyone, this is a part of the session with one of my students where we talked about how to be proactive with Rocket Raccoon. Just right after the session, that student been able to reach GM after implementing all the concepts. So I think a lot of you guys might find the advice I give here pretty helpful. I like the idea and I already see you doing that. You using your mobility quite a lot to just take better positions, but what I would think about whenever you're playing Rocket even more is try to push that a little bit more. So what is that about? Because we're trying to take more proactive positions, because you're trying to take those angles, you intentionally you're going to be forcing an enemy team to do something towards you. And why I want you to try to do that is because you got a lot of movement as Rocket. You can run on walls, you can use your dash, you can also fly in the air while using your backpack. I don't think it's the most useful, but yeah, you can. Maybe just to prolong the sideline, for example, you just gain some sort of verticality, you go up real quick, and then you can see the entire field while the enemy team, they cannot just shoot you. Then this is really nice. Okay, so this idea, it's pretty universal across supports with a high mobility. I want you to think about how to take some sort of off angle, but it has to be mid-range because you also have the fall off. Yeah, that is something you got to keep in mind. But once we do take those off angles, what it does is it diverts the enemy attention. So first of all, to give you an example, let's say most of your team is over here. Okay, I'm just gonna use this. For example, most of your team is over here, the position A. And what we could be doing in theory, if we're at position B, we're forming an off angle. Or if we're at position C, we're also forming an off angle. And it's good to try to just support your active pressure, like you're doing with the just healing shots there. But I want you to try to push the limits on how proactive you can be with the position, because if the attention of the enemy team is going to be diverted towards you, then it's not only your team is going to be able to walk forward, but you're also going to be more in control of what you're doing in your games. You're going to be intentionally baiting the abilities. You're going to be intentionally just making them use something. Okay? Does it make sense to you?
So just bait out at a cooldown or ability that would pressure my tanks, my DPS, and then when they see that, they can pressure on top of that. Especially if I have the movement just to get out and be like, you just wasted it, whatever.
Exactly. I want you to show a good example of this idea right away, so it's easy to see. So again, how we do it, so taking off angle and just knowing what your range, well, is just mainly mid-range. Yeah, sometimes can be a little bit short depending on situation, but usually you're not too long of a range support. You just need to make sure you're not too far. To give you an example, let's say this video here. Now that's something what I used in one of our master classes on how to take angles. I just recorded that for the sake of to show the good gameplay on Rocket Raccoon, just in case. Okay, what we got here, this is the front. And they are Overwatch League player, they're quite good, I think, just overall at that game as well. And they're applying those angles concept in my experience. I think they're applying that really well. I think they're just going towards the off angles, trying to take those as much as possible. Sometimes the exceptions of when they are not doing that, but you will see them, they quite frequently do so. To see what they do right away. So first of all, they actually, I need to just, I think it's really fast, So fight starts over here, but obviously because we want to form an off angle, we want to think about the options. Okay, where can I go, where can I be? And you'll see the front, they actually will try to go really deep. It's just because the map allows you, but this idea, it can be universal. It can be universal across any map, so we can try to set up on those good off angles and see what it does as well. First of all, you're using your mobility to set up. That's really important. Use mobility to get on the angle. But once you're on the angle, you're going to be forcing, you're going to be baiting attention. You're going to be baiting attention of the enemy team. And we'll see what the front is going to do here. They set up at the position right on top of the roof, and this might force out some attention. So what we did force out already, we see the lunar snow shift, they just started using that. We also see that Wolverine over here. They use their right click, and maybe we're not exactly forcing a shift yet because we don't want to. I think it's pretty dangerous, but you can try to dodge it with your dash. At least if he's committing in the short range towards us, it's quite nice already. But see, we just dodging him with one of the dashes. Yeah, one dash for what? It's already used shift and this guy over here. So the resource trade, it's more expensive for them. Yeah, you just baiting their stuff. It's cheaper. It's cheaper for you. One cheap cooldown versus their two. And we just try to also maintain some sort of height, yes, keep applying pressure, and then occasionally they can also sow the healing in direction of their team. That's what's really good about Rocket, because your shots can bounce. We can take deep angles as well. I'm just gonna give you general solution for you with angles is try to take 90 to 180 angle. You see this position here, A. If your team is at B, you forming this 180 angle with where these guys are. Just you taking 180 angle relatively to your team. Okay? What I mean, it does make sense what 180 means here.
Just have it line up with like where your team's coming from.
Yeah, exactly. See, my team is looking at this direction B, and if I'm at this angle A, then the enemy team, let's say they're in the middle, for some reason position 1, then in order for them to look at me, they have to look around completely, do that 180 turn. Okay, that's why 180. Ideally, we want to try to take those. Sometimes it's not possible. Maybe the map is not allowing you to, but I think it's quite nice. Yeah, just 90 to 180 angles can be this universal rule. And meanwhile, you're just trying to bait out all the attention. Okay, it's just this idea. We're trying to do that as much as possible. Also, you'll see them, they're moving from one angle to another. In this example, this is your 90 angle. So A, B, yeah, you're at position A, forming this almost 90 angle. Just to give you an example. Yeah, does it make sense, this idea, this concept, or any questions?
Yeah, I've done something like this in Golden Plat. It works, yeah. I just don't know why I stopped it. I think I was just like, okay, I have to play more like a healer now, because it's diving it up.
Yeah, it's always, whenever you notice you stop being proactive in your games, doesn't matter what elo you play at, something's off. You always want to find ways to be proactive, you just find ways to do it better, and push your limits more, basically. Try to, maybe, yes, you will be getting killed when doing that as well, the highest are, but it's not because you are doing the concept, it's because you need to increase the quality of the concept. It's just maybe how you use your cover or how you use your ability, what's your movement, like I said. But right now you just need to start doing that. I think once you start doing that, then we'll see how is that gonna go. We already see you. Okay, we got disconnected. Okay, let's just reconnect. I think once you start doing that, it's gonna be much better. Even though those games, yeah, definitely don't think that you have to play passive. Reality of those games, Marvel Rivals, Overwatch, again, similar stuff, you support need to find a way to just them apply pressure first, in my opinion, and then the only later heal up your team. Because damage output in this game is always higher compared to healing output, so you don't want, you're never gonna out heal anybody. If you're just healing them, it's gonna be, yeah, it's not gonna work. And I see the Spider-Man, maybe you could save him indirectly, save him through forcing some sort of attention from the enemy team, just in case. By being on the angle, for example, here, now option could be, why not to go on the angle, yeah? We could just be sitting here, shooting the enemy, while supporting the rest of our team over here. Just as an example, yeah, let's keep watching. I like it taking this, it's pretty, can be decent, but just slide in the back, let's find out. Okay. Where do you think you should be right now? Your team's pushing from here, the enemy is over there. Seems like you have an advantage as well, so what do you think? Where should you go?
I could be around that pillar to draw their attention, and then it's cover for me.
Yeah, I think this is a good one. Just take this angle over here. You can even try to stay on top of this, just run above and just shoot them from above this way. Force out them to look up. They don't have an ability besides the Spider-Man. Even though Spider-Man will go on you, you can easily dodge. You can easily dodge with one of your dashes.
Yeah.
It just seems a little bit unnecessarily passive, yeah. And especially when you got an advantage, there's no reason for you to be too passive. Of course, you don't want to be over-pushing, but you could be getting those guys much faster. You're giving them a free option to just reset. easily.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, you don't allow them to do so easily. Okay, where could you go? Where could you go instantly? What do you think? What is the position?
A lot of times I like going to that little room in the top left, if ever I have time. But on the walkway might be nice, like above.
Yeah, you could even try to set up there. It's just, you see, when you have that downtime as well, when the point has just been capturing, why not to try to go above, just sit here, and then you continuously apply pressure before the fight. Maybe there's a chance of getting a pick. You can also support most active people. There's another thing about this positioning is, you, as support, you want to support most active people on your team. And right now, see who is active. It's your Doctor Strange, it's your Spider-Man as well. So it's really important. We just want to support those guys a little bit more. So right now, what do you think? Your positioning, where should it be?
I should be up more. I shouldn't be behind my team.
Yeah.
I use one of the legends. Yeah, honestly.
Yeah, just go here. Don't forget that most likely the Spider-Man, maybe the Penny, they will try to contest you, but you just want to get in the position first, right away.
I think that might have been why I was playing so passive, is the Spider-Man. I was just a little worried about it.
So what do you do against Spider-Man then? How do you counterplay? What do you have to do?
Oh god, I don't know.
So why Spider-Man is dangerous? Let's just break it down what he does exactly.
He has high movement and a little bit of burst in this kit.
Yeah, okay. So how to make his life harder? What can he do?
Go into corridors or more like covered areas maybe.
Yeah.
And use my mobility.
Yeah, sure. There's gonna be a lot of how you play with line of sight cover. Maybe you can use short range spaces a little bit more, but definitely don't compromise. Okay, there's a side open, but this is good 90 angle. I think it's still slightly better to be there instead of being down there. And yeah, like I mentioned, because they have a lot of bursts against dive characters, what is good is if you're able to just poke them early before they actually dive you. And if they are diving, then just use your dash. Use your dash to get out of the... if they're gonna do something. There's quite a lot what can do with the movement. You just want to make sure the movement is as less linear as possible. So you're not moving in a line whenever they're trying to pressure you, but you're trying to move left and right, more of a zigzag kind of approach left. Yeah. And then it's gonna be harder for him to catch you. And see, because you're also trying to predict, yeah? Your awareness matters a lot. You can just poke him out early. He's right there. And if you hear, you also did not... Yeah, you also deny him diving your team, potentially. That is something what we can do right away. Okay, yep. Does it make sense?
Yeah, definitely.
Yep. See, but now this guy's free diving, and he's also able to use the ultimate. But he could be the one who's baiting attention, and then just dodging all his stuff. You see how your dash has just been sitting there all the time. Now use the dash, but there's no specific reason.
I'm really scared,
Yeah. It's just more of a reactionary gameplay, like you react, okay, he goes to you, and then you react, now you don't have the dash, and then he kills you. But what if you're trying to just force him to go on you and use the dash? It's more intentional, you're more in control of your gameplay this way. You definitely have to be careful, but still, as long as you're playing your team's line of sight, you use cover pretty well, you poke out him early, I think you should be good most of the time. Should be okay. Yeah. Okay, so going to put a heal in the front line, sure, Spider-Man goes. Probably again, if you're able to just poke him out early a little bit more, that's good. And you definitely need to reposition, there's just, we play really far. Just force this guy to go on you now, you also make it easier for him to make a choice, either dive Invisible Woman or you. If you're splitting, you take it an off angle, then this guy is gonna make a choice. He's gonna have a dilemma, okay, should I dive Rocket, should I dive this? Ideally he should dive you, because Invisible Woman, they don't have as much escape. You do. So just make them waste resources on you. That's what good Rocket Raccoons do all the time.